In November 2017, the art world held its breath. After a tense, 20-minute bidding war at Christie's auction house in New York, the gavel fell. Leonardo da Vinci's Salvator Mundi, a painting with a mysterious past, sold for an unbelievable $450.3 million. That's nearly $500 million for a single painting. The buyer was later revealed to be a proxy for the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman. This sale didn't just break a record, it obliterated it, leaving most of us asking a simple, staggering question: how can a painting possibly be worth that much money? Welcome to G Fun Facts Online, where today we're diving into the modern-day treasure hunt for masterpieces and uncovering the secrets behind billion-dollar art. The price of a painting like Salvator Mundi isn't about the cost of the canvas and paint. It's a complex alchemy, a swirling mix of history, ego, economics, and pure desire. To understand it, we need to dissect the very DNA of value in the 21st century art market. Let's start with the anatomy of value. Before any artwork can reach these astronomical prices, it has to possess a foundational set of qualities. First and foremost is the artist's reputation. A work by Leonardo da Vinci, Pablo Picasso, or Vincent van Gogh carries an immense premium. These weren't just famous artists. They were innovators who changed the course of art history. Leonardo's genius is legendary, making any work attributed to him an object of intense desire. Similarly, Picasso's revolutionary style and Van Gogh's tragic but brilliant story add to their mythos and the value of their work. Next is something called provenance. It's a French word that means to come from, and it's essentially the artwork's biography, a documented history of its ownership. A clean, continuous chain of ownership proves the art is authentic and can dramatically increase its value. If a painting was once owned by the Rockefeller family or a European monarch, it gains a layer of prestige. For example, Mark Rothko's painting White Center, once owned by David Rockefeller, sold for nearly $73 million in 2007, its value significantly boosted by that association. On the flip side, gaps in ownership history can raise doubts and suppress value, which was a major point of debate for the Salvator Mundi. Then there's simple supply and demand. Rarity is a massive factor. An artist like Leonardo da Vinci has fewer than 20 known paintings in existence. When a new one is discovered, it's a global event. The supply is finite, especially for deceased artists, so the competition for the few pieces that come to market is ferocious. This is even more true when most of an artist's works are locked away in museum collections. Museums rarely sell, so the pieces still in private hands become exceedingly precious. The physical condition of the artwork is also critical. Collectors want pieces that are as close to their original state as possible. Damage or significant restoration can reduce value. The Salvator Mundi itself was heavily restored, which caused a lot of controversy. Some experts argued that it was hard to see Leonardo's original work. But in its case, the extreme rarity and the legendary artist attached to it overrode those concerns, an exception that truly proves the rule. Finally, there's the artwork's historical importance and a more subjective quality, often called wall power. Does the piece represent a turning point in the artist's career? Did it introduce a new style? Claude Monet painting Impression Sunrise literally gave the Impressionist movement its name, cementing its place in history. That kind of significance adds a layer of value beyond just how it looks. Wall power is the sheer visual and emotional impact of a piece. When a work is historically important and also visually stunning, it has a charisma that makes collectors desperate to own it. These astronomical prices don't happen in a vacuum. They are the climax of incredible stories, often involving billionaire collectors, powerful nations, and savvy art world players. Let's look at a few case studies. The saga of Salvator Mundi is the most dramatic. Long thought to be a copy or lost to time, it resurfaced in 2005 at a small New Orleans auction. A group of art dealers bought it for just $175, It was described as a wreck, dark and gloomy. After years of painstaking restoration and scholarly debate, it was controversially attributed to Leonardo himself. The key moment came in 2011 when London's National Gallery displayed it, giving it a crucial institutional seal of approval. The painting was then sold in 2013 to a Swiss art dealer for about $80 million. That dealer immediately flipped it to his client, a Russian billionaire named Dmitry Rybolovlev, for $127.5 million. This deal later became the subject of a massive lawsuit, shining a light on the shady dealings that can happen in the private art market. Disenchanted, Rybolovlev decided to sell. Christie's auction house ran a brilliant marketing campaign, presenting the painting not as a dusty old master, but as a contemporary icon, the last Da Vinci. They took it on a global tour, creating unprecedented public hype. The result was the 20-minute bidding war and the record-shattering $450.3 million price, ultimately paid on behalf of Saudi Arabia's crown prince. The painting had transformed from a piece of art into a geopolitical symbol. Not all major sales happen in the glare of the auction room. In 2015, hedge fund billionaire Kenneth C. Griffin bought two paintings from entertainment mogul David Geffen for a combined $500 million in a private sale. The deal included Willem de Kooning's Interchange for about $300 million and Jackson Pollock's number 17A for about $200 million. This private transaction set a new price ceiling for abstract expressionist art. De Kooning's Interchange, which sold for just $4,000 in 1955, suddenly became one of the most expensive paintings in the world. Griffin then loaned both paintings to the Art Institute of Chicago, underscoring another motivation for top collectors: philanthropy and legacy. By sharing their art, they gain public goodwill and enhance the cultural significance and long-term value of the works they own. Sometimes, the biggest buyer isn't an individual, but an entire nation. In the early 2010s, the state of Qatar, led by Sheikh Al Mayasa, went on an unprecedented buying spree. Their goal was to transform the oil-rich nation into a global cultural hub. In 2011, Qatar privately purchased one of Paul Cézanne's iconic The Card Players paintings for an estimated $250 million. It was the only version from that acclaimed series still in private hands, a perfect storm of artistic importance and rarity. A few years later, Qatar was also the buyer of Paul Gauguin's Tahitian scene, When Will You Marry?, for a price later revealed to be $210 million. These weren't just purchases for enjoyment, they were strategic investments in nation building, projecting an image of sophistication and power on the global stage. And the market is slowly changing. For centuries, art history and the art market were dominated by men. But recent years have seen a powerful, long overdue reevaluation of female artists. In 2014, Georgia O'Keeffe's Jimson Weed Lush White Flower No. 1 sold for $44.4 million, a record for a female artist at the time. More recently, a self-portrait by Frida Kahlo sold for $54.7 million, a testament to the global phenomenon of Freedomania. These sales represent a broadening of the art canon and a market correction for genius that was historically undervalued. So who actually pulls the levers in this complex ecosystem? It starts with art galleries. They are the initial talent scouts and career managers. They invest in artists, give them exhibitions, and carefully place their work in important collections. They build an artist's reputation from the ground up. Then you have the auction houses like Christie's and Sotheby's. They are the grand impresarios of the secondary market, where art is resold. They create a public spectacle, generating buzz that can establish a new price benchmark for an artist overnight. But perhaps the ultimate validation comes from museums. When a major museum like the MoMA in New York or the Tate Modern in London acquires an artist's work or gives them a solo show, it signals to collectors that this artist has lasting historical importance. This can cause their prices to soar. And guiding the ultra-wealthy through this complex world are art advisors. These powerful behind-the-scenes experts help top collectors build world-class collections. They vet authenticity, negotiate prices, and by guiding the world's biggest spenders, they play a critical role in shaping market trends. Beyond the players, several major economic and social forces are pouring fuel on the fire. The 21st century has seen a dramatic surge in the number of ultra-high net worth individuals. This new global class of the super-rich needs places to park its immense capital, and blue-chip art has become a go-to asset. Art is also seen as a strategic financial tool. It has a low correlation to stock markets, making it good for diversification, and it's seen as a reliable store of value and a hedge against inflation. A collector can even use a multi-million-dollar painting as collateral to get a loan, transforming a passion asset into a dynamic financial instrument. And of course, there's the psychology of status. For the ultra-wealthy, owning a unique masterpiece is the ultimate trophy. It's a symbol of sophistication and power, a way to write oneself into the history of a timeless object. But the dazzling prices and glamorous auctions mask a much murkier reality. The art market is one of the last great unregulated markets, a realm of opacity and secrecy. At the center of this shadow market are freeports, ultra-secure, climate-controlled warehouses in tax-friendly places like Geneva and Singapore. Billions of dollars worth of art is stored in these facilities. An artwork can be bought and sold multiple times between international collectors without ever leaving the warehouse. And because it's technically never been imported, no taxes or customs duties are paid on the sales. This opacity makes freeports attractive for avoiding taxes, but it has also made them a hub for scandals, including cases of looted antiquities being hidden for decades. Beyond the freeports, private sales, which make up almost half of the market, require no public disclosure of price or ownership. This creates an environment where price manipulation and conflicts of interest can thrive. The journey to a $500 million valuation is a testament to the multifaceted nature of art in our modern world. A masterpiece is a stroke of genius, a historical artifact, a social status marker, and a financial instrument all at once. Its price is determined by the convergence of all these forces: the legacy of its creator, the prestige of its past owners, the ambition of its future possessors, and the immense pressure of global wealth seeking a place to call home. So the next time a painting sells for a price that seems to defy all logic, remember the story of Salvator Mundi. It's not just a transaction. It's the climax of a story that reveals as much about our world, our desires, and the dizzying inequalities of our time as it does about the enduring power of art itself.